From Paul VI High School in Haddonfield, New Jersey, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting presents our first playoff coverage of the year. It's the 8-9 game in South Jersey non-public B between the Donovan Catholic Griffins and the Paul VI Eagles. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by David Cohen on the call this afternoon of Rowan University. The regular season is over. It doesn't matter that Donovan Catholic and PVI are under 500 because today your records reset to 0-0 and playoff baseball is here. David, this is going to be a good matchup. These two teams have not met since 2021, but it's the third straight year that PVI as an 8 seed gets a first-round home game.
Yeah, we saw them last year against St. John Vianney, and they ended up winning that game and then took on the top seed in CBA. This year, the winner of this game will get Immaculata. But like you said, today's records don't matter anymore. The goal today is to get a win. Doesn't matter how you get that win. It's to move on to the next round and compete in this non-public B field.
They like to say survive and advance, and that's certainly true here, but PVI's had a bit of a recurring theme over the last few years. First of all, as we said, this is the third year in a row that they've been the 8 seed and they've had a home game in the first round, and I know that because we've covered them in the first round 3 years in a row. Pingree in 2024, it was St. John Vianney over at Rutgers in 2025, and this year it's the Donovan Catholic Griffins led by Coach Corey Hammond. But what I'll tell you is, for DC and PVI, Donovan Catholic and Paul VI both play in very tough divisions. The Shore B South for Donovan Catholic, they play with Toms River South, Toms River North, and Central Regional, a lot of very good teams in that bracket. And then PVI in the Olympic National, they had a really three-way race for this division. It was Eustis, West, and Morristown, but for a while, PVI was also in that conversation. So it really goes without saying that both of these teams not only play in competitive environments, but their competitiveness is going to help both of them today in this contest.
Yeah, PVI is a team that has quality wins. They won the Ralph Shaw Classic this year over in Audubon. And they got their ace going today in Christian Williams to commit to Rowan. If Paul VI offense comes up big today, get some runs for Williams, Paul VI has struggled to score runs at this point. But if they get the runs today, they should handle this Donovan Catholic team with ease.
Well, what I would also say is that for PVI, even though they've been the 8 seed in the last couple of years, they haven't made it out of the second round since 2021 when they beat Donovan Catholic on the road after beating Camden Catholic in the first round. So PVI is looking to break some brackets, if you will. Obviously, an 8-9 game is almost always a toss-up, but in this case, PVI looks like that they're going to try to defend their home field, and for the third year in a row, they're going to look to win their first-round game. And closing out my point about getting out of the second round, the last 2 years, it's been utterly competitive. They lost to Christian Brothers Academy 2 years ago, lost that game 2-0, and then last year lost to RBC in the second round by a score of 2-1. So in both of those years, they've made it close. And they could be a tough bout for Immaculata if they have to travel up to Flemington on Thursday. But a player to watch for PVI is going to be your starter in Christian Williams. He's got a sub-2 ERA. He's found himself into a really good spot here. 38 innings for the Rowan commit. Rowan, a very good baseball program in the Division III College Baseball World Series, or at least in the Super Regionals. They've done very well as a D3 program, and we're going to be seeing some Donovan Catholic players head out as well for their collegiate careers. One player that we'll also want to watch is Mason Myers. He's back on the market. He decommitted from Coastal Carolina a few weeks ago after being committed to Kevin Schnall's program for a couple of years. So we'll have to see whether or not he's a big factor in the lineup today, but what we can tell you is that it's Christian Williams for Paul VI. You've got Connor Bragg going for Donovan Catholic, who only has 6 innings registered on the year, so it'll be quite intriguing to see how this game shapes out.
You got that right. This game should be good. Like you said, 8-9 can be a toss-up. But Paul VI, they're in a good division. Donovan Catholic's in a good division. Donovan Catholic has struggled at points this season. You can't miss that. But this should be a really highly entertaining, competitive game on both sides.
Both teams under 500. Donovan Catholic 6-15, PVI 9-13. But don't let that deter you. We've got playoff baseball on the way. Donovan Catholic and Paul VI coming up after the break.
Catcher number 21, Connor Brack. Right fielder number 12, Evan Bailey. Third baseman number 6, Dion Tavis. Left fielder number 13, Callan Camarali. Catcher number 23, Jake Duran. And designated hitter number 9, Adrian Bellotti. And now for your PVI Eagles starting lineup as they head out on the field to their positions. Center fielder number 23, Mason Myers. Left fielder number 31, Dom DiGianardo. First baseman number 4, Nick Shear. Right fielder number 1, Mike Finelli. Designated hitter number 12, Gabe Rogers. Third baseman number 6, Caden Conway. Shortstop number 17, Caleb Casper. Second baseman number 5, Anthony Sakala. And catcher number 32, Cole Martini. Our Eagles are led by head coach Nick Gruber. And our umpires for today's game are James Gallen and Mike Walsh.
Welcome back. Your starting pitcher for the PVI Eagles is Christian Williams, the commit to Rowan University. 38 innings for the right-hander this year, 21 walks, 51 Ks, a 3.87 ERA, and a 1.50 WHIP. He's one of two pitchers for the Eagles committed to Rowan, along with Trent Ferreira as well, and those two will head to Glassboro next year, which this is a very exciting team to watch on the pitching side. But for now, let's take a look at what Donovan Catholic has lined up in their starting lineup, presented by Harper Driving School. For the visitors, it will be Steve Mulatto, the shortstop. Luca Affa meets him on the other half of the infield at second base. Colin Johnson is your third baseman batting third. Tristan Garcia is the center fielder batting fourth. Connor Bragg, your pitcher, with only 6 innings under his belt this year, he bats fifth. Evan Bailey is the right fielder batting sixth. Adrian Bilotti is the DH batting seventh. He is hitting for the first baseman, Dean Tabaz. In the 8 slot, it's Kalen Cimarelli, the left fielder, and Jake Duncan behind the plate in the 9 slot. As we said, they are led by Corey Hammond, 6-15 this season. PVI 9-13, looking to get that 10th win. As it is a beautiful day on this Tuesday afternoon, just a few minutes after 1 o'clock, 78 degrees, partly cloudy. Wind is very light, 2-mile-an-hour gusts out to the northeast. And a quick stoppage as our home plate umpire asked Nick Gruber to move his sit-and bucket inside. But the regular season is over. We covered 36 games in the regular season, and the first in the road to Rutgers begins here. Christian Williams, the first pitch. Breaking ball inside, and we're underway. 105, the first pitch.
Williams going to come out you with a funky delivery and a hard-throwing fastball, mixing the slider well.
Misses up and in to Mulatto. The senior, 12 for 39 this year, 308 average, 2 RBIs. Which is what you sometimes get out of the leadoff guy, is a batter with a lot of hits but not too many RBIs, because you might not be dealing with too many runners on base. But Williams is behind in the count now, 3-0 to Donovan's leadoff batter. Good crowd on hand already. Some folks still working, but PVI, their kids got out early. They got out at 12:30 to watch this game. There's a strike called. You can get away with a little bit more in the private school world, but good amount of PVI folks. Well, some of them still in their uniforms. I mean, it's almost 80 degrees. I wouldn't want to spend too much time in khaki pants and a polo, but that one is laced foul just on top of the PVI dugout, and it's 3-2. So Mulatto will be followed by Luca Affa, the second baseman in the on-deck circle for the Griffins. Coming in 6th out of 7 teams in the Shore B South Division. Only team lower than them by overall record was Brick Township at 8-17. And what a comeback. 3-0 count, and Christian Williams gets a lot of fastballs there. He tried the breaking ball earlier in the at-bat, but he goes from 3-0 to 3-3, and he strikes out Mulatto looking for the first out of the game. Really strong at bat there from Christian Williams. Can't get much better than that.
No, he fell behind 3-0 and worked himself back. All he needed to do was get it across the first one and settle in here.
That one well high to Affa. I think the big thing for PVI, though, is limiting that early damage, because PVI has struggled offensively. They haven't done, I wouldn't say a bad job, but they haven't done the best job of getting runs across in games that matter, as that one pops up and out off the glove of Martini. And it's 2-0. I mean, just looking at PVI's resume, like we said, 9-13 in the first season under the leadership of Nick Gruber. 4th out of 6 in the Olympic National. There's a strike called. I mean, listen, they've had some very low-scoring games, especially as of late. 2-1 over Pennsauken, 5-2 over Seneca, and then a 3-1 loss to Delsey. But the good thing is they've held their own versus strong teams. Their pitching has held the fort down. but it just hasn't been the same on the hitting side. Like, they only allowed 2 runs versus Cherry Hill West back on May the 11th, but they got shut out with 6 innings from Braden Falcone, the transfer from Camden Tech. The count is 3 balls, 1 strike to Luca Affa with the third baseman Colin Johnson in the on-deck circle. Ball's fouled back. The count is full. And if there's any silver lining for Donovan Catholic here, it's that early in the game, you're working up Williams' pitch count and you're getting him a little bit uncomfortable. And that might be what you need. And now home plate umpire asked the same of Donovan Catholic. There was a coach standing outside of the dugout. So for the second at-bat in a row, we've got a full count to Luca Affa. Time called before the pitch. And that's the right thing for Christian Williams to do. I stress that every time I see that. It sounds backwards, but if you interrupt your delivery mid-motion, that can do a lot more damage for your arm than just letting one fly on a pitch that doesn't count. 3-2 is a swing and a miss. It's the comeback kid, Christian Williams. Back-to-back at-bats, he works the count full, and he gets out of it both times. This time a swing and miss, and Affa is retired to bring up the third baseman, Colin Johnson. These are some very strong at-bats here from Williams. Like we said, the only benefit for DC is that you're working up his pitch count, but that's still, if you're striking out this often versus a guy that's got 50-plus Ks this year, beautiful pitch right over the middle. Looked like a changeup, but again, he doesn't have your very typical delivery, and he doesn't have a typical arsenal either. Rowan seems to like those guys that don't have the typical delivery. I mean, Nick Watson, definitely a project type in the sense that he was a shortstop and pitcher at Pittman High School after transferring from St. Augustine. Strike called, inside corner, 1-2.
Yeah, Donovan Catholic's not picking up the release point right now. They're just, like I said, it's a funky delivery, 3/4 length from the backside.
Could argue the same of Trent Ferreira from the left side. Martini sets outside. Wow. I think he made contact with that.
That was a foul ball.
Yeah, I'm with a foul ball. I think there was some contact made by Johnson. Now the first base umpire walking in. I think there's a little bit of confusion here. And they'll step back in. But, yeah, he's turning around. So, first 3 for PVI in the bottom of the first will be Mason Myers, the center fielder, Dom DeGianleonardo, the left fielder, and Nick Shear at first base. Swing and a miss. 3 up, 3 down. Christian Williams strikes out the side, and PVI will get their first at-bats after the break. No score. Bottom of the first inning, Connor Bragg, your pitcher for Donovan Catholic, coming in 6 innings, 7 walks, 5 Ks, a 9.33 ERA and a 2.33 whip. He struggled to find his zone a bit in his warm-up, but he's going to try to settle in when the game matters versus Paul VI and the Eagles, led by first-year head coach Nick Shear. Your starting lineup presented by Harper Driving School. It'll be Mason Myers in center field, Dom DiGianardo in left, Nick Shear at first base batting third, Mike Finelli is the right fielder batting fourth, Gabe Rogers the DH in the 5 slot, Caden Conway at third base batting sixth, Caleb Cassikert is your shortstop batting seventh, Anthony Sasala at second base batting eighth, and Cole Martini is the catcher in the 9 slot. Your starting lineup presented by Harper Driving School. As Bragg versus Myers, first pitch outside, 1-0. Good fastball from Bragg from what I've seen in his warm-ups. Just a struggle to find a zone, and when he does, he usually misses low. But as we said, small sample size for the right-hander as he takes a strike called, 1-1. Of course, what we know Donovan Catholic for on the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting side is Joe Mayer, who graduated from there in 2024, as there's a strike called, 1-2. Mayer is now the leadoff man and everyday shortstop for Rowan Gloucester, which is now just 2 wins away from winning their 4th straight JUCO championship in Johnson City, Tennessee, as Myers goes down swinging.
4 batters, 4 Ks in this game.
Could be a low-scoring affair, who knows, but way too early to tell as DiGianardo will be the batter. And if that's going to be the tone in the first inning, usually you see some first inning jitters before these guys settle in. That one skips up. 1-0 to DiGianardo. For the left fielder, the senior, 269 hitter, 14 for 52, 6 RBIs, a career 250 batter for PVI, and has had 45-plus at-bats in his 3 seasons here with the Eagles. It's a big swing and a miss. DiGianardo and then Nick Shear. DiGianardo has hit safely in his last 3 games. 1 hit apiece versus Seneca, Pennsauken, and Camden Catholic. Bragg, the 1-1. Swing and a miss. That ball got behind the catcher, but no contact and no runners on, so it's still 1-2. With Shear, the first baseman, on deck. A couple of righties in a row here for this PVI lineup. Again, formerly led by DM Phillips, who was with the team from 2022 to 2025, as that one's low. With I think 2023, was his first year, because Gary Sarno was there behind him, who is now the head coach at Bordentown. He's on his 8th New Jersey team ever since he started coaching in the 1980s. As there's a pop fly. This one not very deep in the infield, and it'll come in at third base. Be taken in for out number 2 as Johnson brings it down, and the batter is Nick Shear. PVI started out the year right around 500. They were 5-4 as of April the 23rd, but they had a 4-game losing streak. They lost both ends of the Pop McKenna tournament at West Deptford, and they only scored a total of 5 runs in that 4-game losing streak. However, after a win versus Camden Catholic, they started another 5-game losing streak, which means 9 of 10 games they lost from from April the 28th to May the 16th. And they closed out their regular season with 3 straight wins, but otherwise they were 6-13 just a few weeks ago. And they've really found a way to get back into the win column. Shear grounds it sharply, picked up, throw to first is in time, and Mulatto throws him out to end the inning. 1, 2, 3 on each side, 4 total strikeouts as through a frame here in Haddonfield. No score between the Griffins and the Eagles. Top of the second inning, leading off for the Griffins will be the cleanup man in Tristan Garcia, the center fielder. Yeah, kind of an odd start time. We were just talking about it. Started at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday. Now, I don't know. I know that PVI is still in session because they had a half day, but obviously Delsey sometimes likes to start their games at 2 or 3, and other teams have other stipulations. But this is actually an accommodation for the visitors. Apparently, Donovan Catholic's prom is tonight, so they requested to play the game as early as possible, which in this case meant 1 o'clock. PVI dismissed their kids at 12:30. It counts 0-2 here to Garcia to start the inning, but I don't know if I've seen that before, a game moved up to accommodate the visiting team's prom. But I've also never seen a prom on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think that's the weird part, prom being on a Tuesday night.
I've heard of it on a Thursday, you know. You don't want to have it on a Friday or a Saturday to avoid, you know, antics, mischief. But on a Tuesday, I was joking with Nick Gruber. I said that's like playing an Eagles game on a Wednesday. That one's up and in, 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Strike called. 4 up, 4 down for Williams. There's 1 away. I mean, what a pitcher's duel this could end up being if this holds. Obviously, time will only tell, but this feels a little bit different than the other years that PVI has been the 8 seed. As there's a ball up and out, just missed that time to Connor Bragg, the pitcher. But Williams also, despite his 4 strikeouts, that was his first at-bat where he started the count ahead. The other 3, he had thrown a first pitch ball and then found a way to get out of it. Here's a pop-up, third base side. This is a tough play, but racing in is Conway, and he'll make that catch just beyond the foul grass for out number 2. So that breaks up the strikeout streak, but it still leaves the Griffins without a base runner for their 6th man in Evan Bailey, the right fielder. I mean, the more that Williams can just shut down Donovan Catholic here, the more that door is going to open for PVI to get something done offensively in the bottom half. It's going to help them a lot to have a pitcher who really can carry the team on his back as there's a strike called.
Hey, like we keep mentioning, it's all about Paul VI scoring runs in this game. Williams started the game a couple weeks ago against Cherry West, struck out 11 and dealt, and they lost the game 2-0.
So a strikeout and a pop out by the pitcher at the letters, misses up and in. 1-1. PVI also went down in order in the first. They'll bat 4, 5, and 6. That's Finelli, Rogers, and Conway. Rogers, a transfer from Bishop Eustace. Gabe Yates now their starting backstop as that one's high. 2-1. But a nice mix of weather here. A little bit hot, but after we had a Memorial Day weekend of 50 degrees and rain every day, a nice day like this is appreciated as that ball's fouled back. It hits the top of the netting and clears the fence as all the kids without a glove scrambled. That's why you bring a glove, kids. 2-2. Williams, 5 up, 5 down, looking for number 6 here in the second inning. And out in front of it to second base. This one has Sasala under it. Fades to his left and makes the catch. The inning is over. So PVI with a strong performance in the early going from Christian Williams. He has struck out 4 and has retired the first 6. We go to the bottom of the second. No score here in Haddonfield. Bottom of the second inning, Bragg facing Mike Finelli, the right fielder. 4, 5, and 6 for PVI in the bottom of the second inning. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by David Cohen of Rowan University. Our producer also, that one got him in the rib cage. First pitch, we've got our first base runner. PVI loves it. That pain can wear off later. It's a hit by pitch to lead off the second. And the batter will be Gabe Rogers, the transfer from Bishop Eustis as the designated hitter today, because Cole Martini is the catcher. Took until the bottom of the second for our first base runner of the game, though. So here's Rogers. Throw back to first, not in time.
You hit him and you pick off, man. That's some guts.
182 average for Rogers, 10 for 55, 4 doubles, 6 walks, 9 RBIs. Has hit safely with an RBI in the last 2 games. There's a ground ball, rolls along the grass. Johnson looks over and throws to first, beats him by a step. And the batter is retired. It does move Finelli to second base, but it'll bring up the number 6 hitter for PVI, Caden Conway. So a 5-3 ground out. It's a helpful one to move the runner over. And Caden Conway, the third baseman, will be the batter. Conway, a sophomore, batting .213, 13 for 61, 1 double, 1 homer, and 9 RBIs. That home run came earlier in the month of May in their road game at Camden Catholic, a game that PVI won 14-1. For a Camden Catholic team that has immensely struggled this year, they're 2-21. Bragg's pitch low. Catcher able to save it. No action from second. And it's 2-0. So runner on second after Finelli was hit and moved to second base on a ground out. Fouled back, got a piece of the catcher, and he'll walk it out, make sure he's all good. But no score in the bottom of the second. Christian Williams on the PVI side with 4 strikeouts. Two balls, 1 strike to Conway. That one hits him. So 2 hit by pitches and a team field trip to CVS for some ibuprofen after the game, as the batter will now be Caleb Cassikert, the third baseman.
That was the curveball that just didn't break there. Now you could see a bunt here from Paul VI to move the runners over.
He'll show bunt. He'll pop it up. Not going to get anywhere. Lands on the dirt down the third base line, and it's 0-1. For Cassikert, batting .225 at 8 at-bats last year as a freshman. He's 9 for 40 this year. Has a home run. That came also in the 14-1 win on May the 4th, but a career .229 hitter with 9 RBIs this season. Low, 1-1. Cassikert has also had some action on the mound, 6 innings for him this year. He has not pitched since, well, he pitched on the 21st versus Winslow, but that was 5 days ago. So if Williams gets into trouble, could be a bullpen option for PVI as a bunt down the third base line, and it's going to roll foul. Smart play by Johnson there. Honestly, I say a smart play, but I don't know if he would have even gotten there by the time the ball rolled foul. And if you're a third baseman, you don't want to pick up that ball while it's fair either. Give him a strike, and now you take the bunt option out of his hands unless you get a 2-strike bunt, which at this stage in the game, this early, you really don't want to get to the point where you're giving up outs. At least on 2-strike bunts.
Yeah.
The 1-2. Bragg looks back at second. Fielder's not holding, and that one's up and in. And honestly, with the 2 PVI batters hit already, you can imagine the testament and the significance in the dugout is they're going to tell him, just wear it. You know, don't worry about it. We'll worry about it later. But if he's throwing high and tight, you're going to want to wear it. As a check shot, check swing, it's snow-coned at second. Great play by Luca Affa. And that'll be out number 2 as the batter will now be Sasala. I mean, that ball wasn't hit all that hard, but he was positioned back like it was going to land right at him, like a can of corn, and then he jumped at the last second. Kind of an odd play. But Sasala will bat with 2 on, 2 out, bottom of the second inning. No score. Martini, the catcher's on deck with his leg pads on as that one misses. 1-0. Strike called. The ball popped out of his glove. Runner from second moved to third. The runner at first stayed put. And now we'll have a quick meeting here between the catcher Duncan and the pitcher Bragg.
Yeah, I think the catcher got switched up there.
Yeah, he was aiming that like it was going to be a fastball, I think, because he had it like middle. No, I think you're right, though. I think he did get crossed up. I was a little bit surprised that ball was called a strike earlier, but I think because of where he was, because he was basically picking it, that it looked lower than it was. But not a lot of pitches to the outside. It's been a very friendly strike zone on the inside half, not as much on the outside, but as long as it's consistent, that's what matters, and it has been so far. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Sasala, the batter, with 2 runners on. They're on the corners as PVI looks for their first run of the game. Pickoff attempt to first, no good there. Strike call, he got him. Bragg strikes out another. It's his second of the game, and we'll go to the third. It's no score here between Donovan Catholic and Paul VI.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Welcome back. Your starting replay, or I should not starting replay. Here's the play at second base. Really saved a run here for Donovan Catholic. It was a check shot, check swing, and then Luca Affa came in, made that play. And that's what kept PVI off the board in the second. So we go to the third. 7, 8, and 9. Donovan Catholic still looking for their first base runner as Williams gets a strike on the outside half. 0-1. It's Adrian Bellotti, the designated hitter. He'll be followed by Kalen Cimarelli and Jake Duncan, the catcher for the Griffins, as this ball is a strike called 0-2. It's been a while since we saw the Griffins. It was April 21st, 2024, the last time that Donovan Catholic was on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. There's a swing and a miss. 5 strikeouts in 2 1/3 innings for Christian Williams. He has been lights out so far on a field that doesn't have lights, as that'll be one away. And the batter will now be in the 8 slot, Cimarelli.
DC is just struggling to pick up the arm release, I think, for the most part. I'd like to see a different approach second time through.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you go 9 up, 9 down in the first 3 innings, that's going to call for somebody, a coach, an assistant, whoever, somebody to come out and say, hey, what are we not seeing? As there's a fly ball in the right center field. Myers almost overran it but made the play. Kind of just stood flat with the ball and caught it on his left side for out number 2. So fly out to right. And it's not like Donovan Catholic's not making contact. You know, they had 2 pop flies. They haven't hit anything on the ground yet. That honestly might help them, because a lot of Williams' pitches are sinkers. He's not throwing that high in the zone. So when he throws that changeup, it sounds counterintuitive to get on top of the ball, but a ground ball here might help Donovan Catholic if you can get on base. Anything to get the gears turning is what's going to be big for the Griffins.
Yeah, and I'll give them props. Every person that goes back to the dugout, they're talking to the on-deck guy or the person coming up next of what they see from Williams.
That one's low and out. Batter definitely held in Duncan. Appeal says no. Very late appeal, but I was going to say I don't even think there was a chance that he went. Whoa, up and in, 3-0. So we're back to this point again. Third batter out of 2 2/3 that he's had a 3-0 count on. Question is whether or not this will be like the other ones or whether or not this will be the 9th out of Williams' outing. And it will not. It's ball 4. So tough at bat there. Usually he had been pretty good in those counts where he was behind, but you can't always be perfect, and it's a 4-pitch walk as Duncan is the Griffins' first base runner of the game. They'll have a courtesy for him in number 5. That's Vinny Perozzi running at first base for Donovan Catholic's catcher in Duncan. And we go back to the top of the order for the shortstop Mulatto. Struck out looking in his first at bat. He was ahead in the count 3-0, but fouled a few pitches off and went down on strikes for Williams' first of the day. But if anything, unless he gets picked off, PVI will be above the minimum. They still haven't had any hits, though, but again, in the playoffs, all conventional wisdoms about baseball are out the window. Have to win by any means and all means necessary. First pitch. Low. 1 ball, no strikes. PVI will bat 9, 1, and 2 in the bottom of the third. Martini, Myers, and DeJalianardo. A very good crowd on hand here at Haddonfield. Probably the closest high school for DWB to cover, just in terms of distance. Probably about 3 minutes for me. PVI, their students are loving the emotion of this game with Williams running Mulatto high and tight, throw to first, not in time. Shear got a late pickup on that one. Again, Mulatto 0 for 1, struck out looking in his first at bat. Strike called. Breaks a streak there. He had thrown 6 straight balls, a 4-pitch walk to Duncan, and a 2-0 count to Mulatto to start. fly ball down the right field line and onto the track, where it looks like there's a track and field practice and a lacrosse practice happening at the same time. That looks like, yeah, that's the girls lacrosse team for Paul VI. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, scoreless in the third. Williams outside. A very late pump fake by Martini. No avail there. Now 3-2. Full count. Williams, the Rowan commit, looking back at first. And the full count pitch is jammed foul. I think that was an out by banana ball rules if you rebounded off the fence. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, runner on first. But despite a handful of walks and hit by pitches, no hits on either side. And that is ball 4. So Donovan Catholic mirrors PVI's effort from the second inning. They've now put 2 runners on, this time via 2 walks. Nothing really yet from PVI. I don't think their pitching coach is really going to come out yet and talk to him. But they do have the number 2 hitter now in Luca Affa, who made that nice play at second base.
This game right now shaping up a lot like last year, Dan. A 2-1 win for the first team that scored in that game.
Affa 8 for 38, 211 average. Donovan Catholic as a team batting .250 with a 5.77 team ERA. If there's a swing and a miss. Let's take a look at Donovan Catholic's standings in the Shore B South, as standings are on the right side of your screen. Toms River South won the division with an 16-9 record. They are the 9 seed in South Jersey Group 3, and they're visiting Highland tomorrow. Second was Point Pleasant Borough, which plays in Central Group 2. Manasquan was 13-9. Central, which is the 16 seed in South Group 4, they play Kingsway. They're 11-10. And rounding out the division, Toms River North, DC, and Brick. Brick Township, that is, not to be confused with Brick Memorial, the Mustangs. The Green Dragons of Brick Township. That one is going to get through the legs of Martine, but it gets the carom off the backstop, not going to have a play. I think that Conway missed the tag. I don't think he ever made contact, and if he did, it was well after the runner slid in. I thought that was going to be trouble for Donovan Catholic, because obviously PVI knows their home field well, and there's no padding behind home plate. It's just the bricks. So just like Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., you can get some really nice caroms off the backstop. And with how shallow the backstop is, you can almost get a wild pitch that will ricochet all the way out to home plate, making it really difficult here for runners to steal on wild pitches. So great effort by Donovan Catholic. The 1-1. Strike called outside corner to Affa. If the inning continues, it's Johnson, the third baseman. Martini leads it off for PVI in the bottom of the third. But really the first chance that we've seen, well, I guess you could say PVI was threatening in the bottom half of the second. But now you've got 2 in scoring position as that one's outside. Tried to get that slider to the stick. That looked outside to me, but it's 2-2. Couple of groans from the PVI faithful, but that was a chase pitch. That was one where he was either going to dot it on the outside of the zone or it was going to miss, and if he swung, would have been outside. Popped up. This one's going to be behind us. Look out. 2-2. No score here in the top of the third. A beautiful sunny day just after Memorial Day weekend on this Tuesday afternoon for early afternoon playoff baseball. 2 in scoring position for the Griffins. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Make that an even half-dozen strikeouts for Christian Williams in 3 innings. You mentioned, David, that he struck out 11 versus Cherry Hill West. But versus Donovan Catholic, he is on a great pace. No hits through 3, 2 walks, no damage. We go to the bottom of the third. No score here at Paul VI High School. Welcome back. Bottom of the third inning. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on their first attempt. You can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. Strike called to Cole Martini, the catcher. Line drive, there's your first hit of the game. It actually went under the glove of the shortstop. It did not have any life in the infield. That ball, I thought, was going to rocket straight into center field, but it actually was this close to being stopped by Steve Mulatto. But Mason Myers, the former commit to Coastal Carolina, will turn the lineup over for the Eagles. That's still easily a base hit, though, even though the shortstop made contact with it. I don't think there was any way that Martine was going to be denied there. Really no reason to call it an error. Ground ball, this could be 2. Backhanded at first, and the ball gets away. Mulatto can't get there. It goes into left center field. And the runners advance. That's 2 runners on for the Eagles now in the bottom of the third as Myers gets on via a throwing error by the first baseman in Dean Tabaz. We now go to DeJalianardo.
PVI's got to take advantage of this. I know Gruber probably knows they're struggling to score runs. This is a bunt situation right here for the Eagles.
Also a good move by Martine, who first of all is the catcher, but he's not being courtesy run for. He's staying in. Good take by DeJalianardo. Left that one outside, showed up to bunt. But Martine on second base, that ball going out to left field, I think he wanted to go to third, but he very wisely held up. I think Gruber over at third base gave him that stop sign as well. Just don't want to get too greedy here for a team that's not known for scoring runs. Down the third base line. Ooh. Did you see that ball take a right turn on the grass?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, on the edge of the grass on the dirt. 1-1.
PVI struggling to get bunts down in these last 2 innings.
Again, our coverage of public school baseball in the playoffs, the first round game will be tomorrow. We'll have the 12-seed Morristown versus the 5-seed Cumberland from Cumberland Regional High School. First pitch is 4 o'clock tomorrow. As the 1-1. Showing bunt. That one is way low, but the batter did not offer. And it's 2-1. And even though PVI has struggled to get the bunt down, can't say that they've erroneously swung at anything they shouldn't have. They haven't chased anything on those bunts. Inside, gets it down. The ball comes to a hard stop, and it's an infield single. The bases are loaded. Here's Nick Shear. So now you got a big shot here. Base is loaded. And nobody out. This may be the transformative inning that PVI needed. Grounded out to short in his first at bat. That one sails high. That one might have missed him by just a few inches. And it's 1-0. I'm sure PVI would have liked to have that run, but
that's back-to-back at-bats for Shear. That the first pitch was up by the head.
And Finelli in his at-bat got hit along with Conway. So there's been some control issues, but it'll be 2-0. Two balls, no strikes, nobody out, and the base is loaded. 2 hits and an error.
You take a strike here.
See what he's got in his tank, for sure, the 2-0. Oh! Oh, my goodness. That one hit him in the helmet, and Shear is looking back. The umpire's trying to hold him back here. We've got some trouble going on here. Nick Shear is arguing with the home plate umpire who tried to hold him back after he was looking at Connor Bragg. So the run scores on the hit by pitch. It's the 3rd time that PVI's been plunked, and it's a 1-0 game, but Shear exchanged words with the home plate umpire here as he was walking down to first, and I think he was exchanging words with Bragg, but as he was exchanging words with Bragg, the home plate umpire intervened, and now the first base umpire is coming in, and he's basically commanding that we keep the peace here, which I remember 2 years ago there was the matchup between Pingree and Paul VI, and at one of the most memorable games that I've covered, it was 13-4. PVI won the game with an 11-run 6th inning, but it was not a mercy rule, and it was a game where the bench is emptied, and Pingree had maybe the biggest of all meltdowns in that series. I mean, I remember their catcher, I can't remember his name, but he literally took his helmet off after a home run. He turned around and said to the home plate umpire these exact words. He said, "Sir, I know that you're trying to get the home team to win, but you should try making fairer calls." I kid you not, that is what the catcher said, and he was not thrown out of the game. To that, I will never understand that. Now, PVI won the game, and they eventually lost in the second round to Christian Brothers, but still, that is one of the most wild, unvarnished baseball games I've ever seen 2 years ago right at this field. The 0-1. Swing and a miss. Big hack that time by Finelli. But a bases loaded hit by pitch. I mean, again, that changes everything. Really leaves the door open for PVI to have a monster frame with nobody out and only 2 hits in the inning. An error and a hit by pitch otherwise on balls. One put in play, one not put in play. Ball fouled back, makes it 0-2. Finelli was hit by a pitch in his first at bat. The 0-2. Strike 3 called at the knees. Great placement by Bragg. It's his 3rd strikeout, and that's the first out of the inning. Always hurts to strike out with the bases loaded. You want to, if you're going to make it out, you want to put the ball in play. You want to drive in a run. But I feel like bases loaded, nobody out. You've already got a run home. I'm not saying it's acceptable to settle here, but I'm more or less saying that it's not the end of the world, and now you've got Rogers to try to clean some things up. Swing and a miss. I feel like since that hit by pitch, Bragg has been throwing a lot better on the inside of the half, inside half of the plate, pardon. Because he's been trying to throw inside all game, but when he misses, I mean, the guys get hit, and Shear got hit in the helmet. But for a guy that likes to throw inside, he's been doing a lot better at locating that. Is that one a little bit closer to the middle, but he wavered at it, and another swing and a miss for the Eagles makes it 0-2 for Gabe Rogers, the designated hitter, who grounded out to third base in his first at bat in the second inning. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. Foul back over our heads and towards the playing area for the lacrosse team. So I guess it was just a lacrosse practice, not lacrosse and track and field, because I don't see anybody. Well, there's a couple people running, but I think that they're getting in their afternoon jogs here on the quarter mile. As the 0-2. Oh, tough one. Look, they're going to appeal. They're going to say no. 1 and 2. That was close. And remember, with less than 2 outs, if that was a strike call, there would have been no dropped third strike. He would have been automatically out. Only way that that applies with the bases loaded is if there's 2 away. That's the 1-2 from Bragg. Another one misses inside. 2 and 2. That one looked like a similar spot from the first 2 pitches. But like we said, Bragg has been trying to hammer that inside part, because when he's gone outside, he hasn't gotten the results that he's been looking for. So he's just really been trying to laser in on that inside half of the plate. That one low at the knees. A little bit lower than what Finelli was rung up on, so I think that was good. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. The home faithful to our right, clapping in unison. With the bases loaded and the infield in. The full count. Swing and a miss, he got him. 2-seamer ran inside. That's strikeout number 4 for the right-hander Bragg. And as Donovan Catholic looks to limit the damage, they're now 1 out away from getting out of it after giving up 1 run on a bases-loaded hit by pitch that tagged the helmet of Nick Shear. So the batter is now Conway, who was hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance. Jammed foul. And again, there's another first pitch on the inside half of the plate. He's almost exclusively throwing first pitch fastballs on the inside half. I'm surprised that PVI isn't swinging earlier to detect that. Here's the 0-1. This time it's crushed. Left center field. Back and caught in left center. That ball looked great off the bat, but Colin Cimarelli reels it in. You heard everybody in this crowd thought that that ball was good for 4, but instead it's not good for nothing as the inning is over. PVI leaves the bases loaded, but they get 1 run across on a bases loaded hit by pitch. We're through 3 in Camden County. It's PVI 1, Donovan Catholic 0.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need. And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives. If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research.
What a swing this was. Thought this one had a chance, but instead, bases loaded fly out to left field. Strong play made by Kalen Cimarelli. I mean, it is very hard to pick up the ball off the bat here, but we go to the top of the 4th inning. 1-0 Paul VI.
Well, Shear's out of the game.
Oh, wow. I wonder if this has something to do with the hit by pitch. Yeah, so Shear came out of the dugout. That is number 1, Mike Finelli, who is now at first base. So I'm trying to see what other changes they could have made.
Right field.
Well, right field is still Myers, I think.
Now Myers in center.
Okay, no, that's not. Okay. So, well, the home plate umpire is going over to the third base side to discuss the change with Corey Hammond, but that's Brock Mission in right field. I thought I saw 24 at first, which would have meant Lucas McCann, but that's not. It's, or is it number 14? Let's see. Well, we're just going to have to zoom in here while Williams throws his warm-up pitches. Yeah, so Finelli is the first baseman. That's what we knew, but it is.
It's Brock Mission.
Yeah, that is Brock Mission, number 44.
You were right.
I knew I was right. Top of the 4th inning as this ball's fouled back.
First time you didn't jump on a foul ball back here today.
Oh, my gosh. Listen, if I ever get a professional job, all of the press boxes are in the 300, so I don't have to worry about that. When you're 5 feet behind the plate, it's difficult not to flinch. Strike called. 0-2. It's Johnson, Garcia, and Bragg, 3, 4, and 5. For Donovan Catholic in the top of the 4th inning, low-scoring affair so far, which, as you said, you were spot on with it, David, just as it was last year versus St. John Vianney, a game that PVI won 2-1. Very weird play decided that game. There's a strike called. That'll be 7 strikeouts for Williams, and that's now going to send up Garcia to center fielder. Again, we have Morristown and Cumberland tomorrow, 4 o'clock first pitch. Thursday, we'll be at Doan Academy for non-public B in the 2nd round. That will be versus the winner of Wildwood Catholic and Holy Spirit. So the 11-6 game. And it'll be either 11 versus 3 or 6 versus 3. But somebody will make the trip underneath the Burlington-Bristol Bridge to play the Spartans. The 0-1 upstairs at the letters. I mean, Williams' delivery has even thrown me off at some points because the slider specifically has so much break on it. It's like Kent Takulvi's old curveball, where it just slashes out from underneath you, and by the time you swing and miss at it, it's a foot outside of the strike zone. But it's 1-2. Again, some sun mixing in with the clouds on an 80-degree Tuesday afternoon. A bit of a return to normalcy in the weather after a very gloomy Memorial Day weekend, as that one's high. 2-2. Garcia struck out swinging in his first at bat. And he goes down again. 8 strikeouts for Christian Williams. Feels like he's hard to stop right now. And there's 2 away. Donovan Catholic has put a ball in play, but they have not put any base runners on via that method. They've only had 2 base runners, both by walks in the 3rd. Strike called. Change up that time. Again, how many pitchers are you going to see that will throw a first pitch changeup? Not many.
No.
And I think Williams releasing from a little bit lower makes that changeup look like a fastball at first. It makes those changeups and fastballs look almost indifferent to each other, except one stays on its course and the other just table gets dropped out from underneath.
Everything's from the same arm slot. You see pitchers sometimes arm slots change on curveballs and stuff like that, but Williams, everything from the same arm angle.
1-2 now. Upstairs, 2-2. To Bragg, the pitcher, popped out to third base on soft contact in his first at bat. It'll be Bailey after him if the inning continues. Three-two. In the bottom of the fourth inning for the Eagles, it'll be 7, 8, 9. Cassicurt, Cesara, and Martine as the Eagles look to add on some insurance. Swing and a miss. Strikes out the side. 9 strikeouts, 4 innings. And Christian Williams, he is rocking and rolling for the future prof in Glassboro. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Only 2 base runners for Donovan Catholic in 4 innings. It's 1-0 Eagles. Bottom of the fourth inning, Caleb Cassicurt leads us off for Paul VI. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by David Cohen on the call from Rowan University. Our producer, Nolan Dowell, also of Rowan University and Salem Community College, as that one misses inside. If you'd like to book Dan Wilkins Broadcasting for your next event, send us an email at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. We have a little saying, any sport, any place, any time. We'll cover it on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting with top-of-the-line commentary, production, graphics, and broadcast presentation for over 180,000 annual viewers. Whether it's baseball, football, basketball, soccer, any sport you can think of, as long as we can cover it, we will be there. Send us an email with a booking inquiry at The Dan Wilkins Show. That's in the description of our video, but it's TheDanWilkinsShow@gmail.com. That also applies for advertising inquiries. If you're a small business owner interested in advertising with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we offer affordable advertising services that cater to over 180,000 viewers across all 7 South Jersey counties. As that's ball 4 to Caleb Cassicurt, and the batter will now be in the 8 slot in Anthony Sasala. But advertise with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting today with that same email, thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. All commercials you see on DWB are produced by our wonderful team, and we provide top-of-the-line advertising services that flex and cater to what your business needs. Whether you're a brick-and-mortar store, social media brand, or anything in between, we're able to cover it on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. That one is high. Thought about throwing the first there for Duncan, but he did not. Counts 1-0 to Sasala. Cassicurt with the leadoff walk. It's the first walk surrendered by Bragg. He has allowed 2 hit by pitches and 2 hits. Throw back to first, not in time. Kind of a half attempt there by by Tahaz to kind of walk around the bag, see if it was good enough for him to try that hidden ball trick like the Miguel Cabrera hidden ball trick. Runner on first, nobody out. Bragg, now a bunt. Sasala drops it in front of the mound. No look at second, throw to first is in time. Successful sacrifice, 1-3.
I like it, good decision. Struggling to score runs, got a bunt, move the runners over into scoring position.
No harm in that. Batter is Martini. One thing that I'll say is that not only has this been a very interesting year weather-wise because we actually haven't had that much rain except for this weekend, what I'll say is it's been a very windy year. I feel like we've had a lot of games that have been affected by wind. This might be the first game in a while where there has been little to no breeze. The wind is only blowing at 2 miles an hour out to the northeast, which would be out to right field, but it's honestly so insignificant of a wind. I mean, the flag is still. We don't see that too often this year, especially this time of year. There's another bunt. Beautifully placed. Martin might beat it out. The throw is low, and he got him. So play over at first base. It's 2 sacrifice bunts to move the runners over. And Martini, is out number 2. But Kasikert moves from first to second and now to third on back-to-back sack bunts.
They told me I was fired after that.
Strike call to Myers.
This would be a big spot for Mason Myers to break out of his slump.
Yeah, Myers has dealt with some kind of injury last year. Had half of the at-bats that he has had this year as it's 0-2. Myers announced that he was reopening his recruitment from Coastal Carolina. Would have been one of 3 South Jersey players on that roster, including Cameron Flukie of Egg Harbor and Jackson Smallets of Gloucester Catholic. But Myers is batting .266, 17 for 64. But 4 RBIs at the plate, and it's not an RBI since May the 15th versus Eastern. Swing and a miss. He got him. Big strikeout for Bragg, and the runner is left on. We're through 4. Christian Williams will continue to rock and roll. It's 1-0. Christian Williams, 65 pitches through 4 innings. And Donovan Catholic trying to get something going in a game that has been very pitcher heavy. Bragg has picked up 5 strikeouts. And it's 1-0 PVI. This one's a ground ball through the middle. It's going to go to second. The throw to first is not in time. It'll be an infield single. It's the first hit of the game for Donovan Catholic. The clock did start a little bit. Williams was 9 outs away, but the first batter of the 5th is a base hit for Bailey. We'll confirm with the home dugout, but I'm 99.9% sure that's an infield single.
Yeah.
That was an excellent play at second base by Sasala to at least stop the ball, to stop it in its tracks. And everything after that, if he had gotten the out, would have been a bonus. The fact that you're stopping the ball at all. Throw back to first. Quite high, but Finelli able to reel it in. bunt. He made contact. I mean, he followed through anyway. But I'll say it's a foul tip.
Anyway,
yeah, that's what I was saying. It was a foul tip, but he made contact, or he followed through. So wasn't a concern about that. One nothing. Paul VI, top of the fifth inning. Williams delivers. Looks like maybe a circle change inside.
DC trying to do the same thing PVI's tried to do. Bunt, manufacture a run.
But the infield single up the middle sets it up for the DH Bellotti in the 7th slot. Throw back to first. He's hitting for the first baseman.
Anything hit hard at Conway at third base, it's through. He's in, really in.
Yeah, he's in bunt defense more or less. And of course the first baseman has to hold the bag. Back pick, throw looks good, but it's late. And that ball was called a ball.
He offered. Thought he offered.
I apologize. 1 and 2 is the count. Okay. I apologize. Bellotti and then Cimarelli, the left fielder, made a very strong play in that third inning. Prevented PVI from scoring one, if not multiple runs. The bases were loaded with nobody out. Then Bragg came back to strike out 2, and a fly ball to left center ended the threat. But the only run in this game has been a Nick Shear hit by pitch with the bases loaded, as that one's outside. 2-2. Martini tried to frame it, and catcher knows best, as I like to say, and he's kind of telling his dugout, hey, it's okay, it was a little bit outside. Which is why catchers have been overwhelmingly the favorite for ABS challenges in Major League Baseball, because they know the zone just as good as the umpire does, as there's a swing and a miss. That's double digits for Christian Williams, 10 strikeouts in just 4 1/3 innings. He picks up the first out, and now it goes to Cimarelli, the left fielder. Strike called. 0-1. From Paul VI High School in Haddonfield, New Jersey, you're watching coverage of South Jersey non-public B first round baseball. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by David Cohen of Rowan University, and Nolan Dowell as our producer, also of Rowan University. There's a swing and a miss. Oh, throw down to second. That was close. I think we've got interference coming. Home plate umpire called time. Yep, that's – or wait, do we have catcher's interference?
Batter's interference.
Okay, it is batter's interference because he got in the way of that. So they're going to send this runner back to first. And Hammond, he doesn't seem upset. He's just asking for clarification.
Batter's out, right?
Yeah, but – yeah, I don't think the batter knew the rule.
Batter's out, runner goes back. Unless there's 2 strikes, then both – if that was strike 3, both of them were out.
And it would – okay. You're the umpire of DWB, David. So you know more than me. But
that was strike 3. They're both out, right?
Yes.
We've got an umpire behind us that's given us some rules as well. I'll say as well, it's been very interesting learning these different nuances when it comes up. But it is also kind of funny when you see a rule where the batter doesn't know what to do. Like the batter didn't know he was out originally.
Well, the coach had to tell him you're out.
Yeah. Now, here's a question for you in terms of scoring, because I don't know the answer to this. If a batter is called out via interference on what was 2 strikes, would that go down as a strikeout on the pitcher's line, or would it be interference?
It goes down as interference or out on appeal. It's still an offer.
It's still an offer, but I just didn't know if it was a third strike. That's good to know. That one was called. The throw airmails everybody and goes into center field.
Yeah, I'm not testing that arm in center field. No way.
I am not testing Mason Myers' arm, no. Especially with how short the outfield is. For those watching at home, it's deceptive, but center field is only 315 feet away from home. Now, you may ask, well, why is that? Well, it's because all the trees behind you are part of Sadler's Woods, which is a great trail, but it is a federally protected nature preserve, so they cannot back up on the trees. Making sure they got the count right. It's 0-2. So legally, with environmental protections, they cannot back the fence up, which is why it is as short as it is, and they countered that with a cartoonishly tall center field fence. But that's the best course of action that they took, and Sadler's Woods, it's a great area. Love walking through there. A lot of times there's goats that actually live in the trees or live in the forest, and they take care of the extra shrubbery and the extra leaves that come around so that nothing gets too tall or overgrown. It's 1-2. But people have asked me, because we try to talk about these different ballparks in terms of hitter friendliness, pitcher friendliness. This is one of the most hitter friendly ballparks in South Jersey, but there's actually a really interesting reason behind it. There's a swing and a miss. Christian Williams, 11 strikeouts. He's picked up a very strong tab tonight as he leaves the runner on after a base hit. 2 strikeouts and a batter called out via interference. We go to the bottom of the 5th, 1-0 Eagles. Bottom of the 5th inning, a pitcher's duel here at Paul VI High School in Haddonfield, New Jersey. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by David Cohen. Nolan Dowell is our producer. Connor Bragg still out for the Griffins. They trail at 1-0. PVI got a run on a bases-loaded hit by pitch in the 3rd. But no luck for either team. But Donovan Catholic was able to break the ice with a base hit to lead off the 5th inning, an infield single.
We've talked a lot about Williams, but Bragg to himself, he's looked pretty good out here. He's a little wild at points, but managed to get out of that bases-loaded jam a couple innings ago with only the 1 run.
He's given up 2 hits, 3 hit by pitches, and 1 walk. As that ball skipped up. Counts 2-0. I think I'm checking my shirt. A couple clumps of dirt came up, and really goes into perspective to how close we are. We talked about how shallow of a backstop it is here at Paul VI. One runs inside, 3-0. I don't see any action for Donovan Catholic. But again, this might be one of those teams where you have your guys, but once you get outside of that main core, you might start to run into some trouble. I know there's a lot of teams that are like that. I mean, even at the major league level, you have your guy, and then once you get into the bullpen, the deeper you go, the more problems there are. But that's the second walk surrendered. And it comes to Leonardo. The batter will be Shear. Now, Shear is coming back into the game. If you recall, in the third inning, he was hit by a pitch straight in the dome. He got hit in the helmet, but he then, I guess out of an abundance of caution, came out of the game. Mike Finelli took over at first, and Brock Mission took over in right field. Now, remember, at the high school level, you are allowed one free substitution for the defensive players. So in this case, we have been told by Nick Gruber that Shear will re-enter the game at first base, and Finelli will go out to right field. As an umpire, David, do you personally agree with the one free substitution that teams are allowed to do?
I like it at the high school level. It allows you to get in some bench guys if you need them. Too, and like for Shear's situation, he got injured. They took him out for protocol, and now he's allowed to go back in the game with nothing wrong. So, yeah.
And I think that also helps. Like, for example, we're seeing Doan Academy on Thursday. They have 11 players. If that one free substitution wasn't there, you'd have a lot of players that would be quite fatigued, even midway through the season because of how many innings they would be basically forced to play. Strike called. 3-1. So Shear went ahead in the count by 3, and now Bragg is working back. Shear, a commit to Holy Family in Philadelphia.
Ooh.
Big swing there, 3-2. Some South Jersey flair on Holy Family. Joseph Slavin of Audubon is a notable name out of there, the left-hander, very lanky left-hander. But Holy Family only introduced their baseball program in 2024. So relatively new program to the Division II NCAA scene. 3-2 is fouled back. Runner went on the pitch, but he'll have to make the trek back to first as the count is full. In the on-deck circle will be Mike Finelli, the right fielder, or at least he was the right fielder. Now he's the first baseman, but after this inning, he will be back in his old stomping grounds in right field, taking over for Brock Mission. Whoa, throw back to first, not in time. That looked like it was going to be a lot closer than, or I should say, I thought it was going to be a lot closer. Because I saw Leonardo start to take his lead, and then Bragg immediately threw over, no hesitation. And that is ball 4, just low.
Good take, good call.
That one was by the skin of its teeth, but I agree. I think that was the right call. It's a shame we don't have that little box that we can have from NBC Sports Philly, but head coach in Mooney coming out, in Corey Hammond. That is the end of the day. And a right-hander will come in to suffice. As the day is done for Connor Bragg, he finishes with 2 walks. Through 4 innings he struck out 5 batters, gave up 2 hits, 3 hit by pitches, 3 walks all told. The new pitcher, though, will be number 20 in Colton Cherry. And we return with 2 on, nobody out in the bottom of the 5th inning after the break. Colton Cherry is the new pitcher for Donovan Catholic. 6.74 ERA, 17 2/3 innings. As a bunt back to the mound, they'll go to the lead runner. He's out. Bang, bang play. They got the force out as DeJalianardo's retired. That was a heads-up play. It will now be a 1-5 fielder's choice. And DeJalianardo's retired. The batter will now be Rogers as Finelli reaches first. There's a universe where he doesn't make that play, and we talk about how that's a bad decision.
Yeah, there is.
But because he did make that play, we hail it, you know?
It's a good play.
Swing and a foul tip by Rogers. It's 0-1. Rogers 0 for 2. Ground out to third and a strikeout swinging in his 2 at-bats today. The designated hitter today, transfer from Bishop Eustace. I mean, transferring from PVI to Bishop Eustace is like getting traded from the Cowboys to the Eagles. You know, it's not a lot of love lost to say. Or I guess getting traded from the Cowboys to the Eagles would be like getting traded from or transferred from Gloucester Catholic to Bishop Eustace. This would be more like the Giants to the Eagles. You know, there's still a little bit of tension there, but the 0-2. 2 runners on after the fielder's choice. Runner was thrown out on the force out at third base. Now the runners go. The throw to third is high. Can't get the tag down. The batter strikes out. Interesting there as the double steal. It moves Shear to third, Finelli to second. I might be wrong. I was a little bit concerned about how far out the batter's bat was when the catcher threw over to third.
It's a judgment call for the umpire. I mean, like, if he's standing still, they're not going to really call it.
That's true. Ball gets away, but as PVI knows very well in this ballpark, there's not a lot of room to run, so unless there's a bad bounce, unlikely you're going to get any kind of obstruction. One ball, no strikes. To Conway, was hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance, flew out to left in his second at bat. One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. With Conway, he'll be followed by Cassicurt, who's 0 for 1. Pop out and a walk as PVI looking to add some much-needed insurance as that one fouled back. Hit his foot, it looked like, as it's 1-2. PVI has had 3 runners reach, but they have not recorded any hits. DeJalianardo walked, Shear walked, and that forced Bragg out of the game. Now Cherry is the pitcher, and he gets that force out at third base, and then the strikeout really puts Donovan Catholic in a much better slot. And a ground ball. Playable at short. Mulatto picks it up glove side. Throw to first is in time. What a play. Throw on the run. Steve Mulatto. And Donovan Catholic, they just need to get the bats going because the defense has been pretty darn good. PVI leaves 2 runners on, and going to the 6th here in Haddonfield, it's 1-0 Eagles. Christian Williams on still for the 6th, as he'll face for Donovan Catholic 1, 2, and 3. Mulatto, who made that strong play. Mulatto, Alpha, and Johnson in the top of the 6th inning. 12 strikeout. 11 for the right-hander. Has only allowed 1 base hit, and that was in the top of the 5th inning. Leadoff infield single off the bat of Bailey. That was pitch number 78. So he could very easily go the distance as long as Donovan Catholic doesn't get a whole lot of base runners on him, which of course is their goal to get base runners, but it's 1-1. Mulatto is 0 for 1, strikeout and a walk. He's only allowed 3 base runners. And he's out of those, he has only put 3 balls in play. A pop-out, back-to-back, 2 pop-outs, that is, in the 2nd, and a fly-out to right off the bat of Cimarelli in the 3rd. So only 3 batted outs. Let's see here. Plate umpire asked coach to come back into the dugout, but out of Williams' outs that he's recorded, he's only put 3 of them in play. I mean, 11 strikeouts over 5 innings. Incredibly impressive, as that one's high. And it just gives you the feel that Donovan Catholic just can't get the bats going right now. We thought maybe after the first rotation in the order, they would figure out his arm slot, they'd swing a little bit earlier, they'd try to get some soft contact, get something here. But they have only put 3 runners on base all night, 2 walks and 1 single. And even that 1 single wasn't followed by anything spectacular. 2 strikeouts and a batted out on interference from Cimarelli. But it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. And that one's high, so that is the 3rd free pass allowed. In a 1-0 game. And again, I'm curious what the leash on Williams will be, because you do have the chance to get insurance in the bottom of the 6th inning, but if I'm Paul VI, I'm not counting on that, because they've left 8 runners on base today.
Who do you go to in relief is the question mark, though, for the Eagles. You have Finelli, who can pitch a little bit.
Finelli does have 6 innings this year. Well, looking at their pitch count marker, from what I can tell, the only players that can't play today, actually there's nobody that cannot play today. The only players that are on any kind of limit at all, the only one is Finelli, because he threw 55 pitches on Friday, and Nick Shear threw 12.
So Ferrara probably first out of the pen.
Question is, though, do I even use Ferrara? Because if you advance to Thursday, you're going to want to have that lefty versus Immaculata.
Yeah, but if you keep him 31 to 50, that's only 1 day rest, so.
That's true. That is true. If they go to Ferrara, it'll be, for him, 26 innings, 4.31 ERA. We saw him in the Ralph Shaw Classic versus Bishop Eustace.
I think you let Williams ride right now.
Throw back to first, not in time. I apologize. You were talking about Finelli, and I said he only had 6 innings. He has 28. It was Cassikert who has 6. But still, Cassikert's not a guy that you're going to start on Thursday. I would think that they go to a guy like Finelli, or maybe even, as that one's going to be a throw down. The throw is wide. It gets away into center field. Donovan Catholic doesn't run. It's a 1-1 count to Afa. And it moves the runner into scoring position in Mulatto. And that was his 2nd walk of the day, for what it's worth.
I'm going to say my motto, productive out right here. Coach just set it down the 3rd base line. Right side, move him to 3rd with less than 2 outs.
Yeah, Finelli and Ferrara probably your best options. But again, I would have to imagine it's in the mind of Nick Gruber to start Ferrara on Thursday versus Immaculata. But PVI looking for their third straight season. This one's popped up back behind the plate. 1-2. But PVI is looking to advance out of the second round of the non-public B bracket, non-public A bracket for the first time since 2021. As we said, the number one seed in this bracket is Immaculata. As that one inside, 2-2. The other games in this bracket, CBA versus Camden Catholic, that's scheduled for 4. That's the 12 versus 5 game. St. John Vianney moved up to the 6th slot this year. They host St. Joe's Metuchen. That one's low, 3-2. And the other play-in game, if you will, first-round game, Notre Dame, the 7 seed, hosts Pingree, the 10 seed. The 4 teams that got a bye, Immaculata 1, St. Augustine 2, RBC 3, and Union Catholic 4. RBC having a much better season this year, 17-7. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and Williams steps off. No throwback to second. Williams, full count, outside. Well, that could be trouble now.
Take a visit.
Yeah, they're going to have his pitching coach come out. 4 walks for Williams. And you now have the tying and go-ahead runs on. But Williams has done so well with 11 strikeouts, only 1 hit allowed. I mean, he only allowed 1 over the minimum through the first rotation of the order. It has been really impressive to watch Williams pitch, but being impressive all goes out the window in a playoff setting. So if you're Nick Gruber, first of all, first year as a head coach, obviously he's got his experience. He was a Haddon Township grad, 1995 Major League draft pick to the Red Sox, and took over for DM Phillips, who was with the program for 3 years, 2023 to 2025. Gary Sarno before him. But what I'll tell you is, for when we discussed it on one of the first South Jersey Starting 9 podcast episodes, which, by the way, we do have one coming out tonight at 8 o'clock. We talked about kind of a wrap-up of the Diamond Classic, and then we previewed our playoff brackets. But what I will say is it would have been different if a new head coach was an outside hire, somebody who had to introduce himself to the team, somebody who had to, go through the rigors of a job interview. But Nick Gruber was the next man up after DM Phillips. He was the right-hand man of that dugout. It's kind of like with Rob Thompson getting fired and your top bench coach gets up as this ball's going to be back to second. They're not going to have a play. Williams tried to chase the runner down. He might have held onto that ball for a little bit too long because I think he had a chance to get him. And you could see Coach Corey Hammond kind of flipping the helmet. He really thought that maybe his guys were going to get out there, but they do not. And with nobody out, Williams remains in the game. 11 strikeouts for the right-hander as he faces Johnson, the third baseman. 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. Johnson, the senior, 385 average, 10 for 26, 5 RBIs. Look at how far up Nick Shear is up the first base line. Swing and a miss. He was halfway up the line, and there was really no sign that Johnson was going to offer on a bunt. But common wisdom tells you 1-0 game, 2 on, nobody out. Probably a good idea to bunt. but Shear was, dare I say, overly confident that the batter would offer. The 0-1. It's Mulatto on second, Offa on first, both via the free pass. Williams has allowed 4 walks today. And the Rowan commit, time called by the batter. Johnson 0 for 2. The only hit in this game comes from Bailey in the 6th slot as there's a strike called, 0-2. The 0-2 with Williams. And of course, a ground ball could induce a double play as well, depending on where you're standing. If he puts this ball on top of it, or I should say puts his bat on top of the ball. The 0-2. Change up, just missed. 1-2. And Williams is a very emotional guy. He's somebody that if he disagrees with something, he kind of will let you know. But you can't let what you don't agree with get in your way.
Control the controllable.
Exactly. And you can't control the uncontrollable. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Corners of the infield in. Swing and a miss. Pack up the donut box. That's a dozen for Christian Williams. It's the 3rd strikeout against the 3-man Colin Johnson. And we now go to the cleanup man in Tristan Garcia, the center fielder for Donovan Catholic here in the top of the 6th inning. 2 runners on. This has been a game that has had a lot of base runners left on. PVI, as the home team, has left 8 base runners on base in what has been a 1-0 pitcher's duel. Williams steps back again. And a game that was at really good pace of play. We were at 2:41 when the inning started, an hour and 36 minutes through 5 innings. It's a pretty good pace. But as with all playoff games, there's a point where they all slow down. As right down Broadway. No doubt that's a strike, 0-1. Garcia 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. But to have no hits out of your top 5 men in the order and 3 base runners between them all on walks has been a sticking point for the Griffins. No balls, 1 strike to the cleanup man, Garcia. Williams looks back and delivers. Slider at the knees, called a strike, and now Donovan Catholic has something to disagree about. It's 0-2. But a great crowd on hand that has stuck it out here in a little bit of sticky weather. High humidity and 80 degrees in Haddonfield. And almost no breeze. Strike 3. 13. 2 down. That's the 3rd strikeout for Garcia. And the batter will now be Bragg, who was the pitcher, but he is remaining in the game. Believe he must have moved to a different position then to make that happen. And I didn't see it. 2 outs, 2 on. Williams in the 6th inning. First pitch. Outside, called strike.
You got to let them fly at this point, man. You got to let the hands fly.
Get something. Put some wood on the ball. Or not wood, but aluminum, I guess.
Watching too many pitches go by. Both sides, honestly.
That's been costing them dearly. Cassikert, Sasala, and Martini, 7, 8, 9 for the Eagles in the bottom of the 6th. The 0-1. Runners go. Double steal. Throw down to third is wide, and it goes into left field. Here comes the runner from third in Mulatto, and the game is tied. One mistake turns the game on its head. And Donovan Catholic scores on a stolen base gone wrong for the defense, and it's 1-1.
Costly mistake. Just couldn't happen at that point, and it cost you big time. I would have just ate it, but
Yeah, Listen, I'm all about getting that final out, but for what it's worth, umpires are coming over to talk here. Not sure.
Count maybe? But it's 0-2, I think.
Yeah, it's 0-2. Does PVI want an interference call?
Well, he sat in the box standing still. There was no interference.
So we'll resume play. 0-2 is the count. Christian Williams, 13 strikeouts, and even though it's an 0-2 count, we have now tied the game at 1 apiece. And honestly, knowing how this game has been, that's exactly how I thought the first run would come in. I did not think it was going to come on an RBI. As a swing and a miss, Christian Williams, 14 strikeouts. His day might be done, but I can tell you that run that's on the scoreboard is not the fault of the starter, Christian Williams. Donovan Catholic ties the game on a stolen base, throwing error on a double steal on a throw by Cole Martin. Eagles bat 7, 8, and 9 in the bottom of the 6th when we return.
Book Dog Pro Wrestling for your next event or outing for the greatest action that New Jersey Pro Wrestling has to offer. Any place, any time, any setting, Dog Pro Wrestling will bring the action to you, and you won't want to miss it for moments like this. But don't just take it from me. Take it from Max Mundo, the Dog Pro Wrestler.
Max Mundo with Dog Pro Wrestling. Are you a civic organization, sporting club looking to fundraise? Then look no further to Dog. We do grand openings, corporate events, and much more.
And why not from some of the wrestling talent themselves?
I'm Vinny the Fixer, and I'm the champion of Dog Professional Wrestling. If you want to book the best, come see us. We're the cream of the crop. We'll come to any fundraiser you can think of. Just name the place, and we'll show up.
This is the upstanding Dylan Mesh, and for the entirety of my professional wrestling career, dog wrestling has been a mainstay for where I like to wrestle. So you can believe me when I say that it is quality. And I'm upstanding. I'm the only opinion you need.
Yeah!
1-1 game, bottom of the 6th inning. Cassicurt leads us off. 7, 8, 9 for the Eagles.
I said it was about the offense for Paul VI in this game. I wasn't worried about the pitching coming in. I knew how good Christian Williams was. He's been excellent today, 14 Ks, but the offense has not done anything. They've been struggling to score runs these past few weeks.
As we said during a 5-game losing streak that the Eagles had in early May, they only scored 5 runs. Pardon, across a 4-game losing streak, as there's a strike called to Cassicurt. 7, 8, and 9, it's Cassicurt, Sasala, and Martini. As the game is now tied on an errant throw at third base. There's a strike called. 1-2. One, two. A low ball hit to left field, and it drops. How about that for a piece of hitting? That ball looked like it was fairly low, probably a good 6 inches out of the strike zone. He gets down and golfs one. That's a good swing at PVI, and that's a good swing at the country clubs, as it's a base hit. And that could be what PVI needs here in the bottom of the 6th to get ahead. For a PVI team that only has 2 hits, that's now their 3rd. A single from Martin and DeJaleonardo all the way back in the 3rd inning. A game that has not had offense as a huge factor, or really even a factor at all in this game. It's been all pitching, all defense. Cherry looks down at catcher with Sasala. Strikeout and a sac bunt to his name today. Runner goes. Now the bunt comes down. It'll go back to the mound. Throw to first from Cherry's in time. It moves the go-ahead run in the scoring position. And now it'll bring up Martini, who, what an at-bat it would be for him. An unfortunate throwing error at third base gave Donovan Catholic the run they needed to stay in this game. So how rewarding would it be to go from giving up the tying run to getting it back with your bat, on your volition and on your terms? That'll be quite the moment for the catcher Martini, batting out of the 9 slot. Single and a sac bunt today. That one's low, gets in front of the plate, and able to return it to his pitcher is Jake Duncan. Winner of today's game plays Immaculata. That game would be scheduled for Thursday. And Immaculata, they would play at their home field, presumably, of Diamond Nation in Flemington. The 1-0. That one's low. Donovan, the 9 seed, PVI, the 8 seed. Martini, the senior, has hit safely in his last 2 games, had 3 hits and 3 RBIs in a win over Camden Catholic. That ball's roped in the right field. It's down the line. It's down. Talk about redemption. Martini, a second. Green light from third. Here comes Cassakert all the way to third. PVI has the lead. 2-1. RBI triple. Cole Martini extends the olive branch. And a base hit down the line gives the Eagles a 2-1 lead. One that they gave up on their own terms and reestablish on their own terms. Infield in for Myers.
You said it best, Dan. Redemption for Martini. Throws a ball in the left field that allows Donovan Catholic to score. He comes back up to the plate, erases his mind, and drives one down the right field line for an RBI triple to give Paul VI the lead.
Myers is 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts, and he's reached on an error. There's a strike called. Again, the former commit and recruit to Coastal Carolina. But with him reopening his recruitment, good swing will give him a good chance to get a good look for college coaches, as that ball's a foul back. It's 0-2. Ball rebounds to Duncan with a runner on third. I'm a little bit surprised with Martini being at third base that they're not opting for a courtesy runner for the catcher, because I would want the quickest guy possible in my team. As Myers laces a ball, it won't matter. It's off the top of the wall. It hit the leaves. Martini scores. It's an RBI double for Mason Myers, 3-1. That ball was smoked into the right center field gap, and immediately Coach Hammond comes out, and he's going to pull the plug right here as Myers RBI double. Martini scores, and they'll make a change as a runner on second. And we'll have a pitching change here for the Griffins. So when we return, it'll be one runner on second base and one away in the bottom of the 6th inning. RBI triple by Cole Martini, added on by an RBI double by Mason Myers. In the bottom of the 6th inning, PVI leads Donovan Catholic 3-1. As the new pitcher will be Connor Burns. Only 3 innings for the right-hander, and he's got an ERA of about 12, but they're going to give him the best shot that they can. 6 walks, 6 Ks. He's allowed 8 hits. As he'll try to shut this down here. This one's jammed foul. DeJalianardo. Looks like Shear made the catch down the first base line. A little bit of faux defense there. He's getting his first base reps in for the 7th inning, but DeJalianardo is 1 for 2, a pop out, a single, and a walk. And looking to add some insurance as PVI has finally gotten the bats woken up here in the 6th. That one's outside. Ball pops out of the glove, and it's a stolen base for Myers, who swipes third. And now that puts another insurance run, which would be the 3rd of the inning, just 90 feet away. And there's only 1 out, which was on a sacrifice bunt set by Sisala, excuse me. The 1-1. Low and inside. Did that hit him? Yes, it did. Myers tried to score, but not so fast. It's a hit by pitch. And now 3 straight base runners have reached, and the batter is Shear. Nick Gruber is coming over to the home plate umpire.
Number 8 running at first base.
That is Caden Fayette, who is running at first. Now, the reason why that has to be reported is because DeJalianardo is the left fielder, so that counts as his substitution. Yeah, if Myers didn't slam that ball to the right center field gap, I would have said run for Martine and put a guy like Fayette. I don't know who, they could have taken a guy off the track and field team, did a, what's it called, put a jersey, put some cleats on him, make him run, Fayette does not go. That one's low and in. Low and out, pardon. Again, we've got Morristown and Cumberland tomorrow. Thursday will be Doan Academy versus the winner of Wildwood Catholic and Holy Spirit. Runner goes, no contest.
Scored at a stolen base or defensive indifference?
I almost never score at defensive indifference when the team is winning.
Okay.
Because the run absolutely does matter when you're winning. If you're losing, that's a different story. I think that's a stolen base. That's low. Scooped up by Duncan. Now, home plate umpire again warning the coach to get inside the dugout. He kind of flared something back at him. Wasn't too happy about what he was asked to do. Three balls, no strikes. Walk would occupy first base and load the bases. There's a line drive. Oh, what a stop at third. Throw to first is in time by Johnson. The runner gets down to third. He is safe. And the run scores. Mason Myers comes in, but oh my goodness, Colin Johnson saved a run with a diving stop fully extended to his left.
Really good play down there, like you said. Saved the run. Now get out of this inning with limit the damage here. 4-1 game. It's going to be tough to score 3, but it's doable.
I think that all comes down to whether Williams comes out for the 7th.
100%.
And that's going to be a very tough decision for Nick Gruber and company to make.
I think he comes out. It might be a short leash if he allows a base runner, but I think he comes out to try to get the complete game.
Ground ball on the first pitch, out to second. 2 clutches, and the throw to first is in time. And Alpha retires him, but 3 runs come across. Cole Martini, RBI triple. Mason Myers with an RBI double. And Another run comes across for a 3-run frame on an RBI groundout. We go to the 7th. Let's see who comes out. It's number 19, Christian Williams. He'll go for the complete game in one of the best individual pitching efforts we have seen all year. We go to the 7th, 4-1, Paul VI. Christian Williams, who will be headed to Rowan University next year in Glassboro with the Profs, making a darn good impression for those in Glassboro today in the first round of the non-public A of the non-public A playoffs. It's the 9 seed Donovan Catholic, the 8 seed Paul VI. 13 strikeouts for Williams. That one's inside. Donovan Catholic with a loss would end their season at 6-16. PVI would improve to 10-13. That one misses. 2-0. By the way, the player that I was thinking of, the player that literally was a track and field star that played baseball, was Herb Washington. As the 2-0. Strike called. Herb Washington was an Olympic gold medalist and a sprint runner at Michigan State. He signed a $50,000 contract in 1973 to play for the Oakland A's, as this one's fouled back. And he only played one season, at least one full season, in 1974. He stole 29 bases, never took the field, and never recorded an at-bat. He is the only player in Major League history to steal over 20 bases without recording an at-bat. That one's fouled, right field line. Kind of like a Terrence Gore type, except he won Herb Washington, of course, helped win the World Series for the A's in 1974, but he was released 2 months into his second season in 1975 and voluntarily quit the game of baseball. The 2-2 is upstairs. PVI had 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning. RBI triple. Cole Martini broke the tie. It's now 6, 7, and 8. And the only batter for Donovan Catholic to get a hit will take ball 4. 5th walk allowed by Williams. That was close. That was close. But the batter is Bellotti, the DH. Bellotti, the DH. 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. Part of the 13 that Williams has thrown today, as they'll say he offered. I think that was a strike anyway. It's 0-1. Here's the 0-1. Ground ball to third. Diving stop. They won't throw to second. The throw to first is high. Can he get it to the bag? He did.
Got him on a tag. What a play on both ends.
What a play. That throw was a little bit high and out. It forced Shear off the bag. And now Coach Hammond is going to ask the umpire for clarification. We'll have a replay of it. We'll take a look at it. Of course, our replays are solely for observation purposes. but that is the first out of the inning. I'm sure Hammond at one point or another disagrees with it, but the batter after that is now Cimarelli.
This is Williams' last batter. He's at 109 pitches. He can finish the batter.
That's 110. It's 0-1. Let's take a look at the replay here. So here's the play over at third. Wow. Just dove right over the bag. And then there's your play at first. Bang, bang play, but Shear was able to get the runner in time. Oh, ho, 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 ho. A little bit early. And it's 0-2. So as we know this is Williams' last batter, we'll see who Nick Gruber has waiting in the wings. As he is now at 112 pitches, he has exceeded his single-day limit. But he'll need one more for the 14th strikeout, and he's got it. What a cherry on top. That's 15 strikeouts, pardon. And now that'll be it. I don't think there should be a single PVI fan on their seat because Christian Williams, taken out in the 7th inning, embraced by Shear. He'll call in the right-hander, and listen to this crowd. A very strong ovation, a hug from Gruber. Pretty much everybody leaving the field is embracing Christian Williams for a day that he had 15 strikeouts, 1 hit, 5 walks, and 1 run. One of the best performances you're going to see in a very long time as he gets a very earnest and very deserved welcoming goodbye from the game. So a pitching change for Nick Gruber. They're going to put Mike Finelli on the mound, who has 27 innings this year. They are going to move him from right field. And we saw, I believe it was number 28, that's Camden Casserly, who will come into the game. 4-1 in favor of Paul VI. The right-hander Finelli comes on when we return. Mike Finelli, a sophomore right-handed pitcher for PVI in the top of the 7th inning. He comes on in a save situation, 2.72 ERA in 28 innings, 20 walks, 35 Ks. But Christian Williams, 1 hit in 6 2/3 and 15 strikeouts. And the only reason why he didn't go longer was because of the state's pitch count. He finishes with 113 pitches. There's a swing and a miss. 15 of 20 possible outs by Christian Williams were strikeouts, and I have to imagine that that is a very good impression for everybody in Glassboro, including Mike Dixon, as he looks to send Paul VI to the 2nd round for the 4th year in a row. This is the third year in a row that PVI has had a first-round home game in the playoffs, specifically as the 8 seed. They beat Pingree 2 years ago, SJV last year. That one's up and out, 2-1. Again, our next broadcast will be Morristown at Cumberland High School tomorrow, 4 o'clock first pitch. And then on Thursday, the winner of Wildwood Catholic and Holy Spirit versus Doan Academy in non-public B. The 2-1. Swing and a miss. And Finelli is 1 strike away. Both of these teams came into today under 500, but the goal was simple: survive and advance. And Cole Martini, who gave up a run against Donovan Catholic, was the one who got it back. He got him! 16 strikeouts, and Paul VI advances to the next round with a 4-1 win as Mike Finelli mobbed on the mound, but it was his co-partner in Christian Williams who got the job done. 15 strikeouts, 6 2/3 innings, and maybe one of the best pitching performances I have seen since John Perozzi back in 2022 for Audubon. But PVI back in the win column. In late April, early May, they lost 9 games out of 10. They were 6-13. Well, guess what? They've now won 5 straight, and PVI is moving on, and they'll take the long road trip on Thursday to Flemington to face the Immaculata Spartans with a time to be determined. David, your thoughts on what was a masterful pitching game?
Yeah, this was, I said it, that I wasn't worried about Paul VI pitching. Christian Williams, we both knew how good he can be, the Rowan commit, and he was excellent today. Like you said earlier, a little bit ago, 15 Ks of the 20 possible outs that he recorded, 15 by way of the K. And this was excellent. Paul VI, they needed to score runs. That didn't happen to the bottom of the 6th when Martini and Myers came up big. But a win is a win in the playoffs. PVI going back to the second round. They got their hands full Thursday with a very talented Immaculata program.
Yeah, Immaculata, they've played some South Jersey teams this year. I believe they played Delsey earlier in the season. And PVI, again, they're a team that they got a little bit lucky today in the sense that they don't score a whole lot of runs, but they only needed 4 to get across the line. Theoretically, only needed 2 to get across the line today. But I don't think it's without a doubt Christian Williams. I mean, listen, Cole Martini, he gets the offensive player of the game, and then Christian Williams gets the pitching player of the game. I mean, listen, there's no doubt. 15 strikeouts, 6 2/3 innings. Like I said, I've covered over 300 high school baseball games across five seasons. That is one of the best games that we've seen in a long time. Christian Williams, from the get-go, had it done, had it made. We thought that maybe after the first rotation in the order that Donovan Catholic would figure out his arm slot, they would figure out his delivery, his cadence. They never did.
I got 3 words for you, Dano. You like that?
Even with Tommy John surgery, that gentleman, Cooper McGovern, he's got to get vocal cord surgery after that. But I don't know what he puts in his coffee in the morning, but he is an energetic fellow. But, yeah, that's without a doubt. Christian Williams, player of the game.
100%. I mean, like, I'm at a loss of words because of how good he was today. And Paul VI, we'll see who they throw on Thursday up there in Flemington. Nick Gruber, first career playoff win for him in his first year as head coach here at Paul VI. Really good win today for the Eagles.
It's not his first in the dugout, but it's his first as the leading man. That'll be all for us tonight on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, as the final score is Paul VI 4, Donovan Catholic 1. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator Haley Mejia, our graphics crew Caleb Lane, Carson Rosso, and Fisher Giannotti, my producer of Rowan University, Nolan Dowell, my color commentator of also Rowan University, David Cohen. I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll be in Seabrook tomorrow in Cumberland County between the Morristown Quakers and the Cumberland Colts. Have a good one, folks.